afternoon and welcome to the afternoon edition. My name is Isa Noor. Today we shall be focusing still on social issues that actually affect our life. It is important that there are infrastructure in every city and every urban sector, rural sector. But then at the same time, this infrastructure should not be used against human or should not be in position to actually cause more harm to human. These are some of the challenges we have whenever we are trying to put up modern infrastructure for easy passage of water, for easy passage for humans, and for easy passage of animals. In the FCT, we've seen so many infrastructure coming up, building of bridges, new roads, new urban centers are being opened. But one key infrastructure that has so much impact in our life is the pedestrian bridge. The pedestrian bridge helps humans to be able to cross from one end of the road to the other with ease, without actually hindering traffic or vehicles and other transport mediums. Even in some train stations or some railway, you discover that we still have pedestrian bridge. And the major essence is to increase safety in those particular localities, especially where there are volumes of humans carrying out their daily activity. In the FCT here, you can count so many pedestrian bridges. Of what economic impact are these bridges? Are these bridges placed at the point where humans actually need them for their use? Or they are just placed there for the ecstasy of the city? So today we shall be having this conversation with Ms. Blessing Sophia Sani to discuss more on ending pedestrian casualties in the FCT highways. So we'll go on this short break, and when we return, Sophia Sani will be here with us in the studio to tell us more about the impact of these bridges.
We are a nation blessed with people of diverse cultures, religions, languages, and opinions. It is ironic that we are now being ripped apart by our greatest strength, our diversity. We have allowed intolerance, insensitivity, bigotry, and nepotism to blind our vision of the greatness we can achieve working together as one. We may not have the same culture, nor religion, nor language, but we all belong to the same nation by the divine will of God. We did not choose to be Nigerians. Nigeria chose us. This nation is our divine heritage, and if we open our eyes, we would realize that what divides us pales in comparison to what unites us. And by the comparison and conciliation of our differences, we will grow until our differences disappear. Our unity cannot be willed by mere declarations, nor do we get unity by ignoring the questions that beg for answers. We must celebrate our diversity and debate our differences without fracturing our unity. Our strength is not in our numbers, but in our unity, because even the weak become strong when united. Nigeria unite. This message is brought to you by Abuja Broadcasting Corporation, owners and operators of ASO Radio 93.5 FM Abuja, ASO Television DSTV Channel 392, Star Times Terrestrial Channel 127, Free TV Channel 507, People's TV Channel 285, and UHF Channel 38.
Welcome back from that mild break, and just before the break, I did inform you that we'll be having Blessing Sophia Sani, the project coordinator of Uche Collins Foundation, to discuss more on the ending pedestrian casualties in the FCT areas. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
It's nice having you today in the studio.
It's a pleasure to be here.
So much has happened in the past, and today we are focusing on this social and environmental issues that we know face. I remember growing up in Lagos, one of the key problems they have in Lagos is how they manage the movement of humans and goods. Yeah. And most of the times you discover that on the express, we just cross it without any major barrier to prevent someone to cross from one end of the road to the other side. Yeah. And that has actually generated so much controversy in Lagos then, and the government had to put up a group known as Placema to address this particular problem. But now let me bring you back home here in the federal capital territory. Being the project coordinator of the Uche Collins program, what's your take on this volume of humans moving from one end of the road to the other end of the road?
Okay, just as you, thank you very much for that question. So, just as you explained a while ago, before now, we didn't have pedestrian bridges where pedestrians could easily climb and cross to the other side. So, it's really caused a lot of challenges for us, especially number one being accidents and all of that. So, that was what led the government to now take it upon themselves to plant pedestrian bridges at major junctions, at major bus stops here in the federal capital. I'll be speaking, my focus will be in the federal capital here. So that was what brought about the emergence now. Although there are a lot of things to it, I believe as we advance in the conversation, I'll be able to expound more on this. Yes, thank you.
Okay, you just stated that well, for the government, definitely putting up infrastructure is very, very important. But do you think it has actually helped in the reduction of, let me say, accidents on the highway?
Yes, to some extent, it has actually reduced the extent of accidents and all of these in the federal capital. Let's take, for instance, this express road, this Kubwa Express Road. Before we had the pedestrian bridge, we had more accident cases. But there are some people that naturally have phobia for crossing road. If you take me back to when I was in secondary school, there is this friend of mine that if she wants to cross the road, she will be screaming. You have to hold her till you get to the other end. But now with the emergence of pedestrian bridge, people like that do not have to go through that trauma. Permit me to call it trauma. They will just have to walk up the stairs, cross over to the other side. So it has helped bridge the gap. Although there are still some people, permit me to call them Usain Bolt, they prefer to run over, and you tell them, okay, this is actually very dangerous, your life is at risk, and they'll tell you, no, I am tracking it. But we forget that we are humans and anything can happen. Your leg can decide to act up, or a vehicle can decide to lose control and all of that. So what do you do in that case? So it will come back to the fact that these pedestrian bridges are made for us, so we should use them. I know we may be fast. If we are runners, let's run in the field, but not on the highway. So it has helped the ones at Kubwa Express. We have the ones at Lugbe Express, what have you. The government have helped us to some extent to create these bridges. So yes, it has drastically, I cannot tell you specific percentage, but it has drastically helped bridge the gap that we used to have, the accident gap that we used to have back in the days.
But then, if you look at it critically, just like the one you mentioned, part of Kubwa going towards area 1, you discover that we have this bridge. But at some point also you discover that towards the evening, most especially, it has now become a market hub for so many commercial traders. You see them flying, but when you need to start climbing the staircase, you discover that there are so many of them, and it even makes it even difficult for people to actually use the pedestrian there, and they still see the normal way of running across the road because they discover that climbing may actually take time. What can you say?
Okay, truth is a lot of people are not sensitized about it. A lot of, as you said, a lot of these people see these bridges as a market point, as a point of sale where they can actually go sit down and sell. But I think there should be enforcement agencies, law enforcement agencies that should be responsible with the act of sending these people away and making them know that, okay, this bridge is just for pedestrians to move from one point to the other, and it is not a market square. Let me move away from Abuja a bit and enter Maraba. That is a typical market square. When you go there, you see people selling all sorts of things. So people prefer to jump. And the truth is that law enforcement have really tried there, because sometimes you see them sending traders are selling by the roadside, by the bridge and all of that. But just give it 2 weeks, you see them coming back again. So I think sensitization will really help, and not just sensitizing the people that are selling, but the people that are crossing the road, because the truth is that even if you have all the cars, there will be a point where you need to cross from one point to the other. So we need to do more, and that's what our organization is all about. We are going out to create awareness, to let people know that, okay, in as much as, okay, it looks like it's a market square, so let me just cross the road. Think of your life, think of your family. You have to put a lot of things into consideration. And while you are walking up the street and you see someone selling on, you tell them this bridge is not made for sales. And sometimes we want to push everything back to the government should send people, but we can also make an impact. So I feel it's the responsibility of everybody. This bridge is called pedestrian bridge, not market bridge, so it is made for pedestrians. So once you happen to pass through this bridge at one point or the other, it is your responsibility. Imagine your father handing over a property to you, or after his death his landlord told you, okay, this property is yours, and there are some people there. You have the right to come and tell them, okay, this property is in my name. You understand? So once you are a pedestrian, of which I feel almost every Nigerian is, you will have that right to go up and tell them, okay, this is wrong, or report to the people who are saddled with the responsibility of ensuring sanity gets back to the pedestrian bridges.
Do you think this pedestrian bridge actually have major impacts on communities living nearby?
Of course, it has lots of impacts on the communities. You understand? It helps ease traffic. So imagine back in the days when we didn't have pedestrian bridge. When you want to cross, the vehicle that are passing, they are passing with the mindset that anyone can just enter into the highway right now. So I have to be extra cautious. And when people are trying to cross over, you see people, the vehicle slowing down, and some will not even see someone coming, and they will just have to match their brake, and it may lead to accidents or even the destruction of their car. So this pedestrian bridge has actually helped, especially children. Most children do not know how to cross the road, but with the emergence of pedestrian bridge, now they can cross the road, they can access their schools, people can access their shops, they can access their churches, the mosque. As I was coming, people were going to pray, and I saw that a lot of people were using the pedestrian bridge, although Nigerians will always want to, some people were just crossing over, but it has helped because it has made life easier for us, and it has reduced the risk of accidents in our society, and overall it has improved our economy. Imagine you're saving up some money. Let's say you've saved up 500,000, and you heard that, oh, your son on his way back was run over by a vehicle, and the doctor is asking you to give them 450 for a surgery. Of course, it's going to affect your economical state. So this has helped the society. It has helped both children, adults, and the aged. Old people do not have the speed that most young people have. So what will take them what will take someone 30 seconds to cross may take an older person, maybe who is battling arthritis, a longer time. So with the emergence of the pedestrian bridge, although it may take them time, but they know that they are doing this without fear. They are crossing over without fear of a vehicle running over them. So yes, it has a lot of advantage. It has a lot of impact on both the pedestrians and even the motor drivers.
Okay, do you think there's need to actually improve on the kind of pedestrian bridges we have in the country, most especially in the estate? Because we go to other time, like in the southwest, most especially Lagos, it's discovered that the ones we have, they are actually covered.
Yeah.
During rainy season, and then the sun intensity and the rest of can easily pass without no much heat. And we also discovered that they also have bus stops where people can easily have access to commercial vehicles. But in the FCT here, we don't actually seem to have that in play. While we are having new bus terminals being constructed, what do you think the government should be doing about it?
Okay, I would say I will commend the government for what they've done so far, and I would also say there's still work to be done, because it's not even at every bus stop we have pedestrian bridges currently in Abuja. It is just at some bus stops. So imagine my house is not even close to a pedestrian bridge, and you're telling me to use pedestrian bridge. It is almost impossible for me. So I think it is, as I say, is one step at a time. So now we are appreciating them for what we've been able to achieve so far. Then from this, we can now pitch it to them and tell them, okay, can we take it further? Bring examples of how the covered pedestrian bridge or all of those have helped other communities in other climes, and tell them, okay, we can impute this in the federal capital. Give them reasons why, because sometimes maybe the reason why they have not done it because they felt there is no reason why. If we can convince them, go on advocacies to their offices and tell them, okay, if we do this and this and this, it will help in tackling this and this and this. So if we are able to approach them, and also most importantly have more pedestrian bridge outlined in almost every major junction, it will help curb this situation.
Well, that's a very good one. And
Thank you.
we're looking forward to issues like this, because on several accounts we've not actually seen people come out to talk about this. What gives your organization as a Shape Foundation the
them to be able to say, okay, look, let us face this particular problem?
Okay, just as you mentioned earlier, we are surrounded by many social challenges in our country, and okay, it's always easier to see organization around women advocacy, child care, health, and all of that. So we thought of a vision that will help, because we're concerned about the lives of individuals, and we know that one of thousands of people die yearly in Nigeria from road accidents. Why don't we set up this organization to ensure that people are sensitized more on traffic and pedestrian laws, so that they know what is obtainable, what works, and this in a way helps now them help us to curb a lot of accidents we are seeing on the road and all of that. There are a lot of people that do not know that they need to walk against a traffic. Like if you are walking by a road path, you should walk against the traffic so that you can see the vehicles. You should not walk on the same pace with the vehicle. As the vehicles are coming, you should be walking this way so that you'll be able to know when there's a danger ahead. So we are an organization set up to ensure that people are sensitized about what is happening traffic-wise, pedestrian-wise, to ensure that, okay, that percentage of people that die yearly because of road accidents is being reduced drastically. We can't say we can eliminate it totally, of course, but we are here to ensure that it is reduced to the barest minimum. So that is what bettered this vision for the Uche Collins Foundation.
Okay, one other thing that I've not actually seen in the capital city here in Abuja is that if you go to some places like in Kaduna State, for instance, and part of Lagos, you discover that the road divider is always made up of net in such a way that it is very, very high, so it's difficult for people to even cross. They have no option than to use the bridge. So are this part of what you actually advise the government to look out for?
Yes, absolutely. I know some, let's say 4 or 5 years ago, if you pass the Area 1, Area 3 road, you discover that it was open. So people prefer to jump over the road dividers and all of that. So, but now they have put in nets, iron nets, that make people either go through the pedestrian bridge or go through the main traffic bridge to cross over to the other side. So it has helped. So if we can be able to have more of those, it will really help curb. Because no matter how I tell you that I prefer crossing the road, once I see there is a barricade, there is a roadblock, I will be compelled to go through the bridge. So yes, this is one of the things we are advocating for, and we are trusting that in the next few years from now, Abuja will be a safer place. Our roads will be our roads will be safer, and of course the pedestrian can be able to sleep with their 2 eyes closed.
But one key aspect, I think, there is this particular group of persons, those that have special needs, and on several occasions, if you look at some of the bridges now in the FCT, the pedestrian bridges, you discover that there are no provisions for them. Is your group actually looking forward to meeting with the government in order to be able to put up some of this infrastructure in place for them?
Yes, so in recent times, we've been raising a lot of advocacy about people with disabilities. That's why if you go to buildings like hotels, you always see them having a ramp. And most times we do not even organize events when your hotel doesn't have a ramp. So I think this is the time, I would say a call to action. This is the time for us to take it a step further. I think the express road leading from Area 1 down to Bega, there are some bridges that have a ramp that allows people with disability to cross over. So if we can have more of that, yes, we appreciate, as I said earlier, we appreciate their efforts so far. But if we can have more of that, it gives us a more inclusive society, and the people with disability will not feel they are left out. Okay, there's a scene I happened to remember right now. This happened around Nyanya. There's this guy, he's a cripple, so he walks with the aid of his hands. His legs cannot really stand. So most times what he does is when he is tired of I think I've seen him a couple of times, when he's tired of waiting for vehicles to stop, because most vehicles cannot even see him. You understand?
Because of his height.
He just takes that risk of going into the road. If he's lucky, he will see some good citizens that will help stop the vehicle. But imagine that we have a ramp and we have facilities. Imagine someone is on a wheelchair, he can just talk to someone that will help them up. But if it's the staircase, it will actually be very difficult. So I think we'll take it one step at a time, but we'll still go back to them and tell them, okay, we need this to be done so that Nigeria will become a more inclusive space for
Okay,
everyone.
still on this particular set of people, most especially in some of these bridges and the rest in the modern world, where, let me say in the first world, you discover that in some of these stations, for instance, there are signs, and then there are signs for those who can actually speak, and that's for the dumb, the deaf or the dumb whatsoever. There are signs for them. So what kind of signs do you think are needed in this particular place, in case government wants to build something new, like the same pedestrian bridge, but then it wanted to be all encompassing?
Okay, as we said, there are lots of traffic signs, but the truth is that majority of Nigerians do not know about these traffic signs, just like the zebra crossing and all of that, the traffic lights. Some people, if you still stop them on the street and ask them, they do not know. So beyond just putting the signs, it is very important to send out advocacies to people. And advocacies do not only happen on TV, it doesn't happen only on radio, because there are some people who do not have access to TV. There are some people who do not have access to radio. So I even believe in the more rugged approach of going into the streets and telling people, going to the schools and telling children, because if you impact one child, that child has the capacity to impact his siblings, his parents, and all of that. So yes, they are beyond the signs. The signs are very important for those who know about them. Beyond the signs, it is also a step, we need to take it a step further to raise awareness. And the truth is that Uche Collins cannot do it alone, but with you, we can do it. If everybody can put our hands together, we'll be able to achieve it even faster. So yes, the signs are there, they are important, but more importantly, we need to send out advocacies that will help people know that, okay, this is what this stand for, and this is what this stands for.
Okay, what are the other programs you may likely unveil within the year?
Okay, very soon we'll be kick-starting the school outreach, still on these topics, because we feel that it's better to catch them young. If at the age of 4, I already have the awareness that pedestrian bridge is made for me, and it helps to curb accidents and all of that, it will help me know that, okay, this is how it is. And in the next 30 years, when I'm having my children, I'll pass that knowledge to them. So soon we'll be launching the school project, where we'll be visiting different schools. This is just one aspect of what we are doing. We have different aspects that will be unleashing, but this is like one of the core projects we'll be launching out pretty soon, towards the end of this month and early next month, visiting as many schools. I wish it's possible to visit all the schools. We have done them, but visiting as many schools as possible, and not just telling them, giving them materials, and also planting signposts in their school to let them know that, okay, sometimes when you talk to someone, in the next 1 hour, the cares of life will overwhelm them. But if they come back to their school every day and they are seeing a signpost that is telling them maybe 5 steps, walk against traffic, use pedestrian bridge and all of that, it has a way of sinking into their heads, and before you know it, they are passing it down. They may even be using it to play, and once you can use something to play, it's already a part of you. So this is one of the projects you should expect from us.
What about the road safety? Do you have any collaboration with them? Do you have any program with them, or probably train the trainer kind of event?
Okay, I won't say we have any
collaboration with them, yeah.
But of course, you know that we cannot do anything without the Federal Road Safety Corps. We are working hand in hand with them, although we are taking our advocacy with them on a stronger level, on a higher level, to ensure that, of course, they are the ones in charge of all of these things. So we are looking forward to having more advocacies with them, more teamwork with them, and to even ensure that even as we are going to these schools, they are there with us to give us the backing we need as we raise awareness and send out sensitization on this traffic.
So how long has the organization been there, and what have been their focus? Have they stayed that long, or they're just...
Okay, we are a new organization. We've not stayed that long, but this year we said, okay, we're going to take
take it out.
a step higher, and that is why we are pushing it hard. You understand? So very soon you'll hear more of Uche Collins Foundation in the FCT, and by God's grace, we hope to extend to other parts of the nation. Thank
you so much, and blessing, Sophia, for joining us on the afternoon edition. It's indeed a very good one, and we just have a very beautiful conversation. Let me say, very enlightening conversation with Blessing Sophia Sani, who is the project coordinator Uche Collins Foundation, telling us more about the pedestrian bridges and the importance they have, not just in terms of safety of lives and properties, but also the commercial importance they have to the society for life continuity. It's good to always look at topics like this, because the truth is that for long that I've been in broadcasting, we've not actually looked at this particular part of the society, which is very, very critical. For many who cross the road directly, it's not the best. When you see a pedestrian bridge, make sure you make use of it effectively. My name is Isanu. Have a wonderful day and stay blessed.